Welcome, everybody, to Survive and Advance on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. As always, the Grueling Truth is powered by Betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sports book that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at Betting.net. I am your co-host for Survive and Advance, Mike Goodpaster. I'd like to welcome in my other co-host, 1981 national champion from the Indiana Hoosiers, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Doing great. Actually watched an NBA game last night in its entirety. I mean, and it was a fun game to watch, too, if you're a Celtics fan.
Or if you bet on the Celtics.
Or if you bet on the Celtics last night. Yep, no doubt. So, welcome to the NBA Finals, where finally these multi-million-dollar players get after it, and this is what is great about the NBA when they play like this.
All right, so NBA playoffs, there's no LeBron. I think that actually adds to it. I'm tired of watching LeBron. And we do have, though, Steph Curry and the Warriors. We got Luka with the Dallas Mavericks, Jimmy Butler with the Heat. The Celtics are just a good team, Jason Tatum and the guys. And
well, don't forget Marcus Smart, too.
Marcus Smart, that's why I said
Taylor. He's up there with Butler and those guys, too. I'd say each team's got their superstar player.
All right, so the Mavericks and the Warriors will play Game 2 tonight in Golden State. And so far, I know what a lot of people are thinking, because it's kind of what I thought at first. And, the Mavericks got steamrolled the first couple games in Phoenix. The only thing here is, Steve, no offense to Phoenix. I know they made the finals last year. They were the top seed this year. But the Golden State Warriors are not the Phoenix Suns. The thing that I took away from the Warriors, if you look at them in the regular season, everybody they played in the playoffs so far beat them in the regular season. But, of course, they're still standing. So there's a lot of weapons here, a lot more. And these are tested, championship-tested weapons. Guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. This is not the Phoenix Suns. The Dallas Mavericks are going to have a hard time here.
Very much so. And I think it's evident. I mean, there's nothing for experience when you're playing a 7-game series. And having been there, done that, probably means more to the NBA when these guys all step up and play like we talked about earlier. Everybody's stepping up and playing now. But basically, I don't know how much you can read into one game in this playoffs because, as you said, the Mavericks started slow against the Suns, and the Suns are, they had the number 1 seed in the West. So whatever they did worked. But I just think this was a game where Boston, or the Celtics, the Mavs came out and just shot poorly, basically. Jason Kidd was saying, all we got to do is get our shot back, and our rhythm was good. Everything was really good what we're doing. We just couldn't hit shots. And you're not going to be able to rely on somebody like Luke Doncic, as great a player as he's become in the NBA. You're not going to be able to rely on him to carry you against a team with the experience and the breadth, the depth of talent that Golden State has.
Yeah, and when you look at the stats, the plus-minus numbers are mind-blowing for this game. Luka was minus 30. The entire starting 5 was minus 30. You look at Golden State, they're all plus 20 or more, almost everybody. Klay Thompson, 15 points. Steph Curry, 21. Looney, 10. Wiggins, 19. Wiggins is the one that did the defensive job on Luka. He did a great job there. Draymond Green with 10. The guy who's the wild card here for me is Jordan Poole for the Warriors. He comes off the bench, 26 minutes, hits 8 out of 12 shots, 19 points. And I think the issue right now with Dallas is it's Luka's show, but Brunson only scores 14, Bullock with 12, Smith and Powell 5 and 3. But the bench, outside of Spencer Dinwiddie, who had 17 points, they got no production from the bench. And it's what we saw against the Suns. When they're at home, the bench players produce. When they're on the road, they don't, except for, of course, Game 7 against Phoenix. So, without getting in, Luka's going to get his. I think tonight Luka scores at least 30 points. I think they're going to have a hard time stopping him because he's going to have a chip on his shoulder now. But the whole key to this whole thing is, can guys like Brunson, Powell, Bullock, Dinwiddie, can they step up? And not just one. For them to be able to compete in this series, at least 3 or 4 of those guys have got to have good nights.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Luke is going to get his points.
He'll get his points.
Well, I think they're going to be very hard to earn points, and my fear is you're going to wear Luka down later in the series because I mean the Warriors have Jordan Poole, to start on him, and they've got Draymond Green to back up when Poole gets tired guarding
Well,
him.
they played Wiggins on him last night. Wiggins did a really good job.
Wiggins on him to start with, and then Draymond Green to come on to back him up. Why change that situation right now? I mean, and I think what they're going to do is just run Dunnick into the ground. And I believe what you say is that Dunnick's got a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to come out scoring. But that's expending an awful lot of energy early into the playoff round.
Well, put it like this, Steve. If he scores 30 or 35 points,
yeah.
I mean, if he had 35 the last game, they still would have lost the game by 10 points. So that's what I mean. I think Luka will get his. A bad game for Luka is 20 points. But Luka had 7 turnovers. So the biggest issue with the points is he had almost half as many turnovers as he did points. And I do think this. So I think Jason Kidd's a very good coach. I think Steve Kerr is one of the best coaches in the NBA. These guys are going to make adjustments. And we saw before, lose the first 2 at Phoenix, get hot at home. You're fine if you're Dallas. But what happens here? I mean, I think the big thing here tonight is Dallas, if you're going to bank on winning Game 3, this Game 2 needs to be much closer and much more competitive. I don't see how Dallas can even win this series. They might be able to win a game or 2 if Luka goes off, but Golden State is a superior team.
Yeah, when you put 8 players in double figures in a playoff game in the NBA, you've got things clicking, going the right way. And Golden State did that, and it was very balanced scoring. Even Steph Curry really only putting up 21 points, and we know we're used to a lot more than he's capable of dumping 30 or 40 on you at any point in time. But the way Golden State's playing, I tend to agree with you. I think this is just a mismatch right now, and I think that Golden State, under the guise of Stephen Kerr, have just elevated their game to a new level that nobody saw in regular season. Because, like you said, a lot of the teams left here have handled, in the West especially, handled Golden State during the regular season for the most part. So I expect this to keep going the way it is. But I agree with you. If Dallas doesn't throw something up on these guys right away, this game and make it a close game and give themselves some hope to go back to Dallas, this series is pretty well over.
Now, we have seen Golden State against Memphis come out and throw up clunkers. I mean, Ja Morant was out for game 4 or 5, I think it was, at Golden State. Golden State struggled, only won by a point or 2. So I think it's possible to win a game or 2. My problem is this. I don't know that Dallas has enough bench or enough players where they can diversify so much that, let's say they come out tonight and they win game 2. They change some things up. Golden State's changing things right away. I just think there comes a point where Dallas has done all they can do in this series. I think they might be able to win a game or 2, but I don't know that there could be 3 or 4 adjustments in this series they can make to win games. There might be 1 or 2 to win a game or 2, but I don't think this team is basically diverse enough or deep enough to be able to do that. They need to get Luka a little more help. Spencer Dinwiddie played well. He's going to have to play well again. But when we look at the point spread, Steve, it's 6 points for this game tonight. It's at Golden State. Who would you take?
The way they're playing right now, I don't think 6 points. That's 2 3-pointers to the entire Golden State team. That's all that is. And you're talking about arguably the best 3-point shooting team in the NBA. Well, when you got Steph Curry on your team, that team automatically becomes the best shooting 3-point team. Yeah. But 6 points is, if I was a gambling man and if I knew how to bet, I got to go to betting.net and
to find the best place to bet. There you go.
I got to learn how to do it.
I'm telling you.
We need to do a show. Get on here and do a little blurb, not on what's a trifecta, because I think most of the world knows what a trifecta is.
There's a lot of people.
I'd like to say, how do rookie novices go place their first bet? Because I have yet to place a bet.
All right, I mean, we're going to do this. We're going to do this where we do a show, and I actually bring you on there and show you how to place a bet.
I'll place a bet right on the show as we do, and you walk me through the steps, because I kind of want to bet on this game, because I think I can make a few bucks on this game. But I'm definitely giving up to 6 points and taking the Warriors tonight. I'm not a gambler. I don't handicap well, but I think this is a sure bet tonight if there ever is one in an NBA playoff game.
There is never a
in
sure
the NBA,
bet.
you're exactly right, but I think
Anything. As soon as you think you get a sure bet, you lose the game. All right,
I know.
Steve talked about betting.net. Steve talked about betting.net. Betting.net offers extensive reviews of the best sports books out there. Also, the great thing is this: I live in Indiana. When it gives me the reviews, it gives me sites that I can legally bet on. Make sure you check out betting.net. Yeah, I think the 6 points does.
Mike,
what?
We're going to get that soon in California. It's actually on the referendum in here to allow sports bet booking on the website, something where you can actually place bets.
Well, see, if you're in California,
got it on the referendum,
until it's legal, you can't bet, Steve.
Well, you can bet, Ken. You can't tell me the 40 million people that live in California don't bet online.
Well, I mean, Ken. I mean, you may. I'm sure you can. There is.
Hey,
a way
you know the
around
good news, Mike? I may have to have you place the bet for me through Indiana, and then if I lose, I'm gonna change my cell phone number.
Well, I figured that. That's how it usually goes. But yeah, I would take the Warriors tonight, give the 6 points. I'm not comfortable with it because I do think the Mavericks showed a lot of toughness and grit against Phoenix, and Phoenix is a really good basketball team. They were in the finals last year. Yeah. I'm not as sure as you are of it, but I would take the Warriors. I'd give the 6 points. Now, point spread.
What is the status? Didn't Smith go out with a knee injury, a knee contusion?
A knee contusion. You tell me. You're reading it.
No, I'm not reading it.
I'm just kidding.
I read it earlier.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, he played 34 minutes, 5 points. Yeah. I mean, I think they've got guys off the bench that can fill in for him. But
they
I don't think
a little deeper.
I don't think it's like a Marcus Smart getting hurt, not playing in game one, which I think is why the Celtics lost game one. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to transition to game 3 of the Heat and the Celtics. And to me, this is a really interesting series. And I know when I wrote my article for the Grilling Truth, I picked the Celtics to win it in 6. I think the Celtics are a bad matchup for the Heat when Marcus Smart is healthy. That's why I didn't bet game 1. Game 2, 6.5 points is a lot of points. Miami's a good basketball team. But the thing that would scare me if I'm Miami, Jimmy Butler scored 29 points, and they still lost. He was 11 for 18 shooting. Bam Adebayo only scored 6. Vincent scored 14. I mean, it's kind of the same thing as the last game we talked about, where everybody was a negative on here. Now, off the bench, they did get help. Victor Oladipo, Tyler Herro. But the thing about Herro is he's a guy during the year who was a really consistent scorer for the Heat. During the playoffs, he's been inconsistent. It's really hurt him so far. And it's just like, when you look at it, everybody always says defense wins championships. And I know, Steve, when you look at Golden State, everybody sees how well they shoot the ball, how good they are offensively. But the number 1 and 2 teams in the NBA on defense, number 1 are the Celtics, number 2 are the Warriors. Jason Tatum, 27 points. Marcus Smart, 24 points. Brown scored 24 points. This was a dominant effort by the Celtics. And I think they're the best defensive team we've seen in the last decade in the NBA.
They showed it. They play team defense. I mean, and this is what I love about the NBA is when these guys step up like this, like they're doing now in the Celtics. And I thought Miami stepped up hugely in the first game, and then last night I thought the Celtics stepped up hugely. And you get the athleticism that comes through with these guys. And a lot of great. I thought there was more defense played in the last 4 nights or 3 nights of NBA basketball than there probably was all season. Certainly more than the history of all All-Star games combined. Defense being played, but yeah, I think it's Boston defensively. You can tell that oh God, who's their coach from the past? The Butler guy.
Oh, you mean the guy who is now the head of basketball operations? Yeah. That would be Brad Stevens. He's the one. He put the team together.
Yeah, he put this team together. You can see his college influence on this team, the way they play defense, and they're young and aggressive and went at it, and they're a very athletic basketball club, and they seem to be uncaring of who did what, just get it done, and that would be a Brad Stevens trademark with his Butler teams. When he took 2 to the championship game 2 years in a row from Butler. So that's carrying over.
Hey, Steve, we all know why you're talking about Brad Stevens. It's because you don't want to have to pronounce the Boston Celtics coach.
Oh, I don't want to. But I look at
Emmy
that and I'm like, I hope the guy
Udoka.
doesn't ask me. I'm just going to say the Celtics coach is doing a remarkable job of fitting in under Brad and taking Brad's direction. I'm sure that Celtics coach. I'm not going to even try to butcher that name.
I'm going to give it a shot. I think it's Ime Udoka or Udoka,
Okay.
but
I'm with
he's
you.
done a hell of a job with this team. They play like
He
a team.
has.
And they look like a college team. They pass the ball. They're unselfish. They
Yeah.
got 3 or 4 guys that can really fill it up. I think at the end, I think the Celtics are going to win this series. I think they're going to win it in 6 games probably, maybe 5 even, because I think they're that good defensively. And I think the Celtics Warriors, you get 2 teams that can shoot the ball. You got the 2 best defensive teams in the NBA. I'm hoping for a Celtics Warrior championship. Is 6.5 points too much to give the Heat going to Boston? No.
I'm telling you what, yeah, I think that's a tough bet right there because I saw the way Miami dismantled Celtics in Game 1 with.
Yeah, but remember, that
going
was no
nuts.
Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is the guy that they're going to normally
I
use to play
understand that,
defense against Butler.
But also, Jimmy Butler went from scoring in the mid 40s to 29 points.
That's what I mean. That's Marcus Smart.
If he throws that, well, but if he gets it back and throws that other 14 points at you, there goes your 6.5 point spread real quick. And the Heat have depth. I was kind of surprised. Victor Oladipo, he scored 14 points, but a lot of it came at slot pickup time at the end of the game after it had already been decided. I would probably look to get Victor more in the rotation than I thought they had him in, and he played 26 minutes, granted, but I felt he wasn't really an integral part. And I love Victor Oladipo as a player.
Well, I mean, if you look at these 14 points, Steve, the thing that stands out, he was only 2 for 8 shooting the ball, 1 for 5 from 3-point range. But he got to the free throw line, made 9 out of 10 threes. But he also turned the ball over 3 times. So even with his 14 points, his plus minus in this game was minus 15.
Yeah, but again, it just goes to show the fear of Miami is here's a guy like Victor Oladipo, who we saw, with the Pacers and with the Thunder, average 25, 30 points a game. And when he got his knee injury, now he's come back from that. And this is a guy, too, that they're not even really utilizing fully yet, that's capable of exploding for the Heat if he gets the playing time and gets in the groove. So the Heat have dangerous weapons that they have not probably fully used yet.
Yeah, plus they were in the finals 2 years ago. Not the same thing because of the bubble
they've got
crap.
Experience. They probably have more experience than the Celtics do, because I can't even remember the last time the Celtics were in the playoffs. Like I just got done watching Showtimes or Win Time on HBO about the Celtics.
Don't spoil it for me. I haven't watched the last 3 or 4.
Oh, you haven't watched the last one?
I haven't watched the last 3 or 4. So
my God, you got to watch it. It gets good. It actually gets kind of good.
Well, it's always good. It's just completely
actually to the
untrue.
point where out here in LA, Jeannie Buss was kind of saying, yeah, a lot of what happened at the end of that show is true. It did happen that way.
Yeah,
so,
I'm not a big winning time fan. I find it interesting.
Portrayal of Jerry West that kind of makes you want to puke on that old show, sadly.
Well, they portray a few of those guys probably a little bit over the top, but that's what they do.
But anyway, back to this. Yeah.
Okay.
I would be tougher to bet. Give up the 6.5 on the Heat, because the Heat are a good basketball team here. This is where Steve would not bet this game, because Steve doesn't have the knowledge yet of how to place a correct bet.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I would take the Heat in the 6.5 points, but I would lean
that way.
I'm going to pick the Celtics to win the game. I just think 6.5 points is way too much to give there.
Yeah, the Heat have a lot of pride and a lot to come back on, and they've got a good team. They're well coached too. His coach stays out of the way.
Yeah, Jason Kidd, Steve Kerr, both good coaches. That guy from Boston, we'll call him Coach U. He's a good coach. Yeah. All 4 teams have good coaches.
Are good coached, well coached. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Steve. Anything else we want to discuss before we wrap it up?
No, I don't have anything. I'm actually enjoying the NBA, and now I plan to watch it from here on out, along with my beloved Dodgers.
Now we just got to get you to watch hockey.
Yeah, I wish I had time between the Kardashians being back on the air and and the Indy 500 coming up here. And
hey, and the thing is this,
PGA.
tonight, you and Joe Spillman from our NASCAR show are doing an Indy 500 preview, correct?
Yes, we are. Yes, I've been watching that all morning long. It is very windy and distraught weather in Indianapolis right now. They are running, but it's treacherous when they're going to push the envelope on these cars and push them up over 230 because the qualifying happens tomorrow. But we'll cover all that tonight on a special edition of the NASCAR show featuring the Indy 500. There you go.
It'll be the Indy 500 show.
I would definitely, if you want to see good NBA basketball, I think you're going to get that tonight. I think the Heat are going to come back and really dig into them, and Boston's going to be defending its turf, playing hard. If Boston can maintain its cohesiveness and camaraderie, I think they're going to be tough to beat. But for betting purposes,
Hey, Steve, let me ask you a question. Did you decide before the show that you were going to use as many words that started with the letter C as you could?
No, why? Am I mispronouncing something?
No, you said camaraderie, cohesiveness. There's just a lot of C words.
Oh, well, working with you, Mike, I've got to throw big words at you. Otherwise, you blow me away. You're just too damn smart for me. As long as I throw these big words out that get beyond like the junior and senior year of college or something like that, where I think I may have a little advantage on you, if I throw the big words out, I'm good. If I don't, you're going to kill me.
I know what all the big
make
words
me look
mean.
like a fool.
Yeah.
And I don't want to look like a fool even standing next to you, who is the legend. You are the legend.
You're such an ass kisser today. I kind of like it.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to be better.
All right, guys.
I want more playing time.
We're going to go ahead and...
I may do hockey with you.
Okay. Remember, betting.net is not just sports betting. Betting.net compares the best online casinos. Sit back, relax, and play the top online slots, poker, and table games. Go check out betting.net. Make sure to link the description in the video down below on YouTube that you click for our top provider to bet on the NBA playoffs this weekend. Make sure you go back and check out Steve, Ryan, and Joe on the NASCAR show from Wednesday night. Make sure you check out Joe's top 5 bets. He's got an article out and a video to give you the top 5 bets for the NASCAR All-Star race. Indy 500 show tonight. Steve, anything else before we wrap it up?
A couple things. One is, I know you guys are doing an F1 show now too. That I wasn't.
It's not really a show. It's just.
I know more about F1 than any form of auto racing there is, but I can tell you right now, for betting purposes, first round of practice, Ferrari and Red Bull are 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're going to bet, you bet on anything else besides a Ferrari or a Red Bull, you're pissing your money away. Okay, don't bet on any other team in F1. I don't care what anybody tells you. So just go that direction.
All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap it up.
One other thing I want to say.
Yeah.
If you do this show with me about learning how to bet online, I guarantee you it will be one of the highest rated shows you do.
It'll probably be the greatest show ever because it'll probably be like Roots, where it'll take like an entire week, like 2 hours a day just to get you through.
That was a 10-part miniseries.
It was 7 parts, I think, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It was a miniseries.
I know it was like a week because I remember in 1977 watching the first episode, but I was sick as hell. I had like this fever and everything. But the good thing was that meant my parents let me stay up and watch it all because I wasn't going to school the next day.
That was dramatic. It was life-changing, altering TV. So,
yes, it was.
Everybody.
Great series. And it had O.J. Simpson in it before he was a murderer, as far as we know.
You know who wrote the book?
Alex Haley.
There you go. Good for you. I'm impressed.
I know things. I've read a lot of books, Steve.
There you go.
But my problem is I've gotten so old I don't remember too much of any of them. But I remember Alex Haley wrote Roots. So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap it up. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Grueling Truth. Hopefully we'll have access to that site back soon, but you can still find it on Twitter. And also, check us out on TikTok, where we have a lot of the shorter videos, especially the prediction, preview bets. Make sure you check out TikTok, Instagram, and of course, follow us, like us on Facebook. But for now, for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.